Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Cody. I'm a metaphysical detoxification specialist and I help people work through their emotional traumas that are connected to their physical symptoms so they can have an overall healing experience, mind, body, and soul. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that is so dear to my heart because it's something that I used to struggle with, and I think a lot of people struggle with it, but they don't. Some people don't even realize that they are struggling with it. So today I want to talk about depression. And if you stay with me until the end of the video, I will give you some tips on how you can start to heal from depression. So what is depression? Depression is basically when somebody's low in spirits. Some of the symptoms of depression, obviously, is that that people start to feel they just don't feel like themselves anymore, if they even know who they actually are anymore, because depression is something that can almost take away your old identity and make you feel like somebody that you're not even, somebody that you're not, yet you're so far away from that person that you used to be. And that's one of the biggest things about depression that is so hurtful. It can wreak havoc on our relationships, with other people, with our friends, with our spouses, and with ourselves. Depression can affect our careers. It can affect everything in our lives. That is why it is so important that we deal with it right as we notice that something is off, okay? So depression, on a physical level, depression has to do with poor functioning calcium utilization problems. So if you look into depression, what you're going to find is that a lot of these people are also struggling with calcium utilization problems. And that can be obvious in people that have like brittle nails, or they have prolapses or wrinkles in their skin, or maybe they've struggled with aneurysms, or maybe varicose veins. All of these are signs that somebody wouldn't be utilizing calcium properly, because it's pulling the calcium from the tissues, causing them to lose their elasticity. Okay, so almost always you will see depression and something like that going on as well, or they could be already like set up for that in the future, depending on how things are working in that person's individual case. So that has to do with the thyroid and the parathyroid a lot of the time. And in my case, when I was dealing with depression, I wasn't speaking up for myself at all. I would suppress how I felt so that everyone else around me could be happy or feel good. And I would silence myself and turn into this passive person that would just take things from people and not speak up about how it's affecting me, or that maybe they've crossed a boundary of mine. I would always just keep that to myself. And what I notice is that the people with depression, they tend to do that as well. And if they don't do it in that way, their boundary oftentimes is anger. So if somebody were to do or say something, they might come to, attack that problem with a passive aggressive form instead, which is like sarcasm or anger. And that's how they would express that. And that's very, very common with depression as well. But it all ties back to the throat and the parathyroid and thyroid, where you aren't, where you aren't utilizing calcium properly, and it's not being replaced back into the body. That is why detoxification is so important. So that is on the physical scale. That's depression on the physical. Oh, before I forget, I do want to say though that with depression, its twin anxiety is usually hanging out with it. So if you're having the thyroid, parathyroid, calcium utilization issues, then you're also likely having an adrenal issue as well. Because when people are dealing with anxiety, they are not producing neurotransmitters effectively from their adrenal glands. So anxiety is highly tied with the adrenal glands. So if you have depression, You might want to look into the thyroid and the parathyroid as well as the adrenal glands. But of course, that's only a marginal success, and you also want to do the full body detox, because there is no point in putting a band-aid over something so that you can have temporary relief and just for it to come back later. And that's why it's so important to look at things from a holistic perspective. So now moving on to the unseen part of depression. So a lot of times the people that are dealing with depression are internalizing their anger. They are not the type of person who, well, not always, but sometimes they internalize their anger and they don't express it in healthy ways. What they tend to do is they hold it all inside, which affects their lymphatic system, because they're holding on to toxic emotions and toxic beliefs and thoughts and emotions that are not being released properly throughout the elimination pathways. And one of those biggest ones is the lymphatic system. So a lot of the time people are internalizing their anger when they're dealing with depression. They might also have felt really misunderstood. If they have felt misunderstood, then it's probably goes all the way back to childhood. So maybe when they were younger, they couldn't speak up for themselves the way that they wanted to, and they became that passive person who, when they became an adult, it started to not serve them. It might have served them when they were younger to be passive and keep them safe that way. But as they get older, what could happen is that it's actually working against the person, because then they're not being who they want to be. They're not able to express themselves in a way that is a healthy way. And so here they go down this deep hole of depression, and then so it's like they get stuck in this feed loop too. Depression tends to come with thoughts that are very negative, that are not ever looking to the optimistic side of life and are just stuck in that rut. And the thing with that is that we are still dealing with the law of attraction. So if we're constantly putting out these thoughts and these beliefs and these emotions that are holding us into this depressive state, what we are doing is sending out frequencies and vibrations that are a match to that, and we get more of that. It's this feed loop that just keeps going. And a lot of the time, people don't even realize that that's what's happening. And in order to heal from that, instead of staying on this little crazy 8 feed loop, we have to go up and out. And to do that, I will get into that here in a few minutes. But a lot of the time, people that are dealing with depression are also dealing with addictions, and they might even be addicted to their depression, because our body gets addicted to chemicals. And when we use anger, for example, for our boundaries, it sends a chemical message, chemicals through the body that your body gets used to. So it's kind of like breaking an addiction when we are dealing with depression. It's like we have to break our addiction to the feelings that we get from being depressed. And this is where the secondary gain comes in. So sometimes there's a hidden benefit that will keep somebody stuck from fully healing. And sometimes, with depression, the hidden benefit could be, that it's part of their identity now, that they don't know who they are without depression. So they keep themselves stuck in a place where they feel comfortable, instead of getting out of their comfort zone and doing things that might result in different situations and different experiences in life that they're not used to. So it's really important that we can look into that and see that as well. So what happens is, like I said, we unconsciously keep ourselves stuck in depression and we don't even realize it, So, what else was I gonna say? A lot of the time, people that are dealing with depression are also dealing with traumatic childhoods. So there's a lot of emotional trauma that is around depression that isn't ever really brought to the surface. So in order to heal from depression, it's important that you heal that emotional trauma as well. So as you can see, Depression is a physical thing, and it is beyond physical as well. And I call this metaphysical, right? So, so some tips to heal from depression. So on the physical level, you want to do a full body detox, right? You want to get all your elimination pathways open, so that you can eliminate lymphatic waste from your body. The lymphatic system is basically the sewer system of the body. If you are carrying around a bunch of toxicity in the body and you're not eliminating properly, it can directly affect your mood, which also is going to affect how you're performing on a day-to-day basis. So you want your elimination pathways open, especially working on the kidneys and working on, because that's where the lymph drains, is from the kidneys. Working on the bowels, the stomach and the bowels. In order to drain the upper part of your body, you have to drain the lower part first, which is like the digestive area, the liver and the GI tract and all that. So you want to work on your bowels to eliminate toxicity from that elimination pathway. So we got the kidneys and the bowels and the skin. The skin is a huge one. Our skin is our biggest eliminating organ that we have. So it emits gases. We detoxify through sweat. And the skin also takes the burden if we are not properly eliminating from our kidneys. So by helping with the kidneys, you're actually helping the skin. It all kind of works in a nice synergistic way together. Oh, and the last one is respiration. You want to work on, breathing exercises help detox the lungs, as well as herbal formulas to help expel anything that's stuck inside of the lungs. You want to alkalize the body. Stop eating processed foods and pop and stimulants that are just destroying your adrenal glands and acidifying your body. In order to get over depression, you have to take care of the physical body as well as the emotional side. This is all about the physicals right here that I'm giving you these tips on. So elimination pathways, start on a raw food diet, and if you can, get on some herbs to help facilitate the detox, help move out that toxic sludge out of your body that's been probably there for a long time. And then emotionally, you want to look into these emotional traumas. Is there anything specific that you can pinpoint that is keeping you down? If it is, then really start to look into that and think about how you can see this from a different perspective. Let's say that's, somebody with depression might feel like they hate themselves, quote unquote. Now, if that's how you're feeling, try to aim for a thought that's just a little bit closer to where you want to be. So hating yourself is a very low, slow vibrational frequency, right? Hate is a very low vibrational frequency. So in order to reach the next scale, you can't really jump from hate to love, because it just doesn't work that way. So if you are wanting to start to increase your vibration, so that you are sending out frequencies to the universe that is going to start to give you more of what you want and less of what you don't want, you want to start raising your vibration. So you want to take that self-hate, for example, to maybe not liking yourself. You see how they feel different? I hate myself versus I don't like myself. Those are two very different vibrations. So if you can just start to raise your vibration slowly from where you are to where you want to be, then that's going to help tremendously. And it takes practice. Not every day are you going to feel great, and not every day are you going to feel bad. It's one of those things where you just have to continuously work on it, check in with yourself, and see where you're sitting so that you can try to just raise it, even if it's just a little bit more. Okay? So if this video was helpful, I would love if you would share it, because I'm sure there's tons of other people out there who are dealing with depression and they need to hear this message, because they've probably been to every psychiatrist out there that just gives them more and more pills to take And that only makes the problem worse, in my personal opinion. I also want everybody watching to know that I am not a doctor, and I'm not claiming to be a doctor. Disclaimer, okay? But I have struggled with depression myself, and I've healed it from myself as well, okay? And I see people that deal with it left and right. It's crazy. It's like an epidemic, you know? But it doesn't have to be that way. So if this video has helped you in any way, please share it and like it and subscribe to this channel for more information on different ailments and how you can get through those. What you're going to find is that the body is very tightly linked together. So like, you know, we were talking about depression and anxiety. They're like twins, you know, but the more that you learn about the body and the more that you learn about the metaphysical side of everything, you're going to start to see how everything starts to fall into place. So I will leave you with that, and thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have an incredible day today. I love you.